Aledin Sinayic is a journalist, political activist, and probably most importantly, known as Kurdish teacher, who have been involved in teaching Kurmanji Kurdish to thousands of Kurdish and non-Kurdish people in UK, mainly in London, since 2011, when he arrived here in the UK as a refugee. And now he teaches Kurmanji to many others via Zoom platform, which is became familiar in this last 3 months of pandemic, which has the Zoom has proven to be a valuable platform for people like us Kurds who don't have their own state and state institutions. So it's a good platform to come together as Kurds and interact with each other, even on an academic level. We unfortunately do not have somebody representing Rojava, not because we couldn't find one, but because the initial plan was having 2 speakers. Then we've extended it to 4 speakers, and there was Diaspora to cover. But Mohammed Aledin is a perfect profile to represent both Diaspora and Rojava. The reason being is he comes from Nusaybin town in Bakur, but right on the border of Rojava. We all know that there is an artificial border that divided Nusaybin and Qamishlo. Kurds of mainly that part of Kurdistan refer it as Sarkhat and Binkhat. Sarkhat literally in English is over line. Binkhat is under the line. By the line, I mean the border. So he is well familiar with Rojava, and he has paid trips there. So I kindly asked him to give some of his time to cover Rojava part as well, the smaller part of his thing, because he has a lot to talk about Diaspora. So Mohammed Aledin, the floor is yours, and you have 15 minutes like the other speakers. Thank you.
Gelek spas brez mithat evar baş ve tevaraji brasti idi meji şaş kiriyem serxetine binxetine nizanım. Yani beri naha mel serxetil binxeted neri va çend sali daviji ez çum Rojava mexabil nikari bu biçim serxete mej binxetel serxete neri ev jî qedera me Kurdayê. So I think 99% of participants are Kurdish, but still the format is in English, so we will continue.
One thing I haven't managed to discuss with my committee friends, but the initial plan was going to be partly in Kurdish, and we've already got some criticism in the chat group.
Really?
So
do you want me to continue in Kurdish?
No. If we don't have anybody objecting very strongly, I think you're welcome to speak in Kurdish if you wish so.
I know a few non-Kurds from participants, and their Kurdish is good as mine. People like Iskender, but already Zenobia Human, please.
Probably most of them are your students anyway.
Yeah. Okay, I think there are some people asking for English, so Zenobia is saying English, please. So even if there is one people who doesn't understand us in Kurdish, so it will be good to speak in English. It would be much better really to speak in Kurdish, but again, our Sorani friends would struggle to understand Kurmanji as well. So that's our fate as well, as a Kurd. So firstly, I want to thank Kurd-Akad for organizing this event, and want to thank everyone who joined us today, and especially to Ronahi, Hiva, and Farangiz, who did their presentation, and that was really useful and helpful. So I will be, firstly, I want to mention, I do not have any academic background on Kurdish language, and I see myself always as a Kurdish language servant. That's how I describe really myself. So I will be sharing my experience during these 10 years of teaching Kurdish language in diaspora, and also my observation in Kurdish community, mostly in UK. I will give some examples from Germany and Sweden, but mainly I can talk about UK. But before that, I would like to start drawing a general picture of Kurdish migration, especially in Europe, or let's say Western Europe. So there is no really a number we can give, because there are many researches and study about the numbers of Kurdish diaspora in Europe. However, none of them really are reliable, or all of them are different than each other, and there is no official statistic of the states we live in. There are many reasons really behind this, because many Kurds hold Turkish, Iraqi, Iranian, or Syrian citizenship, and in census population, so they are registered as one of them. Just a few of them are registered as Kurdish. Let's say, I will come to that, but let's say in London, just around in 2011, 45,000 people registered as or identified themselves as Kurdish ethnically, and from these 45,000, just 15,000 of them stated that their main language or their mother tongue is Kurdish. I don't know what, like, the other 35,000 their mother tongue was. Why just from 45,000 people who identified themselves as Kurdish, but just 15,000 of them stated their mother tongue as Kurdish. And the other reason, thousands of Kurdish migrants in Europe still undocumented, and there one of other reason, mainly one of them in UK, there is a large number of Alevi Kurds living in UK and elsewhere as well, and they register themselves, or they identify themselves more than Kurd. They just identify themselves as Alevi ethnically. Similar thing with our Yazidi community. More than identifying themselves Kurdish, they identify themselves as Yazidi. But a few years ago, Council of Europe, in one of their report, they mentioned about 1.3 million Kurds living in Western Europe, which when we look at the reality, the number of Kurdish diaspora in Western Europe looks much more than this, because we are just talking about over 1 million Kurds just living in Germany, or around 400,000 Kurds living in UK, and similar number in France and in Holland, in Sweden. So the number will be much more than this. And the Kurdish migration to Europe, mostly we can talk about the last 5 or 6 decades due to repression and the war in Kurdish land, in Kurdistan, and hundreds of thousands Kurds fled to seek asylum elsewhere, and particularly the famous destination was Europe, and mostly Germany. So when we look at North Kurdistan, the migration from North Kurdistan, let's say, from Turkey, so large number of Alevi Kurds first arrived as refugees following from the region of mostly Marash and around Marash after the Marash massacre in 1978. And after that, in 1980, a military coup was another reason. thousands of Kurds again fled. And then the biggest migration, largest, I would say, in 90s, it started when Turkish state waged total war against Kurds in North Kurdistan, which thousands of villages were burned or destroyed, and hundreds of thousands of people were forced to leave their land. And we had similarly, not brutal as Turkey, but in Syria, after Ba'ath Party came to power in 1963, and particularly in 1970, when Assad secured his presidency, there was a lot of migration, like many people, thousands of people fled Syria, and through Turkey, they came to Europe as well. And the other one, maybe the oldest one, is from Iraqi Kurdistan, South Kurdistan. It starts from 60s, which maybe we can talk about, like also intellectual students who came for education, but in 80s and 90s, the number really increased. That was because of the war going on, the Gulf War, and the war between Iran and Iraq before that, and Saddam Hussein's regime, including brutal Anfal campaign, and also Halabja massacre. And we had another one, similarly, we had similar repression in East Kurdistan in Iran as well, so thousands fled from there as well. So coming to our topic, like the Kurdish language in diaspora, so I want to share one photo from the UNESCO and continue from there. So this chart is from UNESCO. Kurdish, Kurmanji, and Sorani is not included in endangered languages. So from the chart, you can see 43% of languages are endangered. Only Zazaki dialect, Kurmanji dialect, is included in this endangered language in these 43%. But my point is, Kurdish language is endangered in Kurdish diaspora, and it is severely endangered. And I will come to that why. So it is saying definitely endangered. When it says definitely endangered, children no longer learn the language as mother tongue in the home. And that's our experience. Why do I say that? Why do I say Kurdish Kurmanji? No, I'm not talking about Sorani, so making it clear, because Sorani's situation is totally different. But Kurdish Kurmanji is endangered. Why do I say that? Let's first look at the Germany example, and then we will come to UK example. And I will compare it with Turkish language, because why I am comparing with Turkish language, because the students who takes Turkish lesson and Turkish language lesson and Turkish culture lesson, half of them, or maybe more than half, are Kurdish. So now we mentioned there are over 1 million Kurds living in Germany. So the number, because in state school you can have your mother tongue as a lesson as well. If there is, if more than 15 students demand that lesson in one school, so that school has to provide them with a teacher. So at the moment, we are talking about over 1 million, but the number of schools have Kurdish language in 3 provinces of Germany is only just 50. And the number of teachers are only 25. This is 2 years ago, and I don't think there will be a big change in here as well. And the number of students are just 2,200. Maybe now, let's say 2,500. But have a look to Turkish language and how it works, because there are 2 lessons. One is Turkish language, one is Turkish culture, is taught in schools in Germany. So in 2000, so the numbers I'm giving are from 2007, according to Education Ministry in Turkey. So the number, so they have sent 532 teachers from Turkey to Germany. These teachers are employed by Turkish state. 532 teachers, and also German government has provided 770 teachers. So these come, so 532 by Turkish state and 770 by German government. And these bring the number to 1,302, while we have just 25 Kurdish teachers. And the number of students are 91,000, while there are only 2,200 students taking Kurdish lessons. So apart from state school, there are hundreds of supplementary schools run by community centers as well, or by different organizations that they teach Turkish language and Turkish culture to children. And plus to this, the other biggest one, there is a large organization funded again by Turkish state called Turkish Islamic Union for Religious Affairs. And in Turkish they call it Diyanet İşleri İslam Birliği. So DİTİB, I will be mentioning DİTİB as a short version. It is a Cologne-based group, and they run 960, let's say 1,000 nearly, 960 mosques and community centers. And just by Turkish state, 824 imams are working in these centers or mosques. And these imams, 824, these are the numbers they've been sent by Turkish state, by Diyanet, Religious Affairs. And they are not just teaching or not giving religious service. They also teach Turkish culture, and they organize camps and summer schools. And the other thing, until 2018, apart from they are funded by, they have, Mithal is saying you've got 2 minutes, so I have to come to UK then. So this is the Germany and UK. So again, Turkish language is taught in many schools, official state schools in UK. And the other good thing for Turkish language, because it is accepted as modern language, and you can have a GCSE in Turkish language, and also you can have an A level. So again, there are nearly 100, I think must be more than that by 2020. Again, teachers sent by Turkish state. And these are the other supplementary school. Apart from these, what I mentioned, there are 37 schools which they teach Turkish language and Turkish culture. And when you look at London, because 90% of them are in London, and they are all based in Kurdish populated area, like Enfield. So coming to Kurdish, how many Kurdish schools we have in United Kingdom when we talk about 400,000 Kurds in UK? None. There are none. There isn't any school or supplementary school going on at the moment in UK. Kurds are well organized in UK politically. They have many community centers, but unfortunately, when we come to language point, there is no really a supplementary school, which had 2 were run. One was London Kurdish Institute, and the other one by Kurdish student professionals, which stopped now. And there was a Kurdish language in SOAS, by Ahmed Tari's personal efforts by university, but that has stopped as well. I've been teaching in different organizations, and we had one, we just ended one in LSE University as well. So as you see from here, unfortunately, one of Kurdish linguists, Abdullah İncekan, was saying that Turks in Germany are forgetting Turkish and they use German, and the Kurds in Germany are forgetting Kurdish and they start using Turkish. They speak in Turkish. So this is the picture which doesn't look really bright. In Sweden, I can't go into it, but it's quite different. The situation in Sweden is different. And Mithat is looking at me directly.
And one thing I'm worried about Rojava.
About Rojava.
Yeah, because we've
so
already.
Can we maybe in long question and answer session we can add Rojava as well.
I would like you to just give a brief.
Okay.
Outline, because we've already upsetted friends from Rojava today. The fact that we've chosen to speak in English, and so
okay. So when I had some more to say about Rojava and give you a little bit background of before 2011, before the revolution. I wanted to give a little, but everybody, Kurds in Rojava has managed to have a big step in education. More than 40,000 teachers have been trained and prepared. And the good one, like for this year, 2019 and 2020, this is the curriculum of education, which you can see 6 years as primary school and 3 years as secondary school, and another 3 years as Amadei, they call it, which is like we can take it as a college or high school. But I want to show you each of them from one. What kind of I will show you the Kurmanji one. I'll show you what kind of lessons they teach, which from this, which you see from this minhaj.info, you will be able to download all of them as well. It's like a treasure, really a nice, really important source. So you can see this is the first start, like first year. They would teach Birkar, which is math, music, drawing, like sport, and Kurdish language. And then coming to secondary school first year, let's say, I'm not going into deep all of them. So again, we have math, culture, history, geography, Kurdish language, again, science, and also English. And when we come to college or high school, again, in the first year, I will show you, which you all can go here and download all these brilliant books. So again, we've got math and culture, sociology, history, geography, philosophy, science, and also we have genealogy as a lesson again in curriculum, and then Kurdish literature, and then biology and science again, and English language. And all of this curriculum has been prepared, as I said, in Arabic, Kurmanji, and Syriac language, which if you go to website, you will be able to see all of them. So I think I need to stop here. Maybe if you have any question, we can answer as well. Gelek spas brez mithat. و ببورينا جبركم من دمجي درباسكر.